the team, and we're following the scripts. True story, the exact same scripts that I'm sharing with you guys, we're using on the team. And someone had pushed back and they were like, oh, well, it's not working for me. And, I was just very kind of like joking around, but I was just like, a couple times we followed the script and got nothing. Insert to yesterday, like Monday and Tuesday, nothing, no leads, none. Calling the same source, everything like that. All good and hunky dory. Well, then yesterday, nobody came through, but then to yesterday set up essentially 2 listing leads and 1 buyer consult, and made it out of 25 conversations, right? It's the same model, but I think that that's something that not everybody takes into consideration, is that just because you do it a few times, a couple times, a week, oh, okay, I've got it all figured out. No, that's the ebb and flow of business. You got to stay consistently on that. And I think that's what a lot of people seem to forget. So, yep. So long and short. So anybody that's just now joining, welcome, good morning. Vinny and I were just chit-chatting here, and I just was expressing my gratitude for him being on these calls, someone that has, consistent businesses and has been pretty much doing this for a number of years, and has pretty much done everything. I mean, let's just be honest, Vinny, I don't think there's any type of business that you haven't done up to this point, So, but that being said, I keep looking over here because I was wondering why we don't have as many people, but I think it's a slow start today as far as people rolling out of bed and getting onto scripts here. So in regards to today, I wanted to still open it up with any questions that y'all may have as far as the content that we've been covering up to this point. I know we've been focusing more so on the open houses, but I would like to be able to start incorporating a bigger picture into, it's not just at that open house, but how you can ensure that you're running a sustainable model around open houses, but using all the different things that we've done up to this point to surround open houses. Because again, buyers are a dime a dozen, and the energy that it takes to work with 5 buyers is the equivalent to the energy of working with 1 listing. So the real question is that how would you like to divide your time and attention, right? So that being said, I want to start off by saying, if I were to ask y'all and saying, you have an open house, pro tip, always have your open houses scheduled at least by Thursday. Why is that?
That way it syndicates and gets out and people can see it.
Yeah, you want it syndicating out. You want to be able to, have those go to those different websites so you can have people coming through. Okay. Now, does everybody know how to get an open house, if not from our own office, but does everybody know how to get an open house, or at least how to reach out to agents to get an open house? Because I don't want to gloss that over. Okay. So there's a few people like, no, not quite.
How to get an open house? It's in the MLS, right?
Well, pretty much. Well, but here's the thing. What you do is that you go into the MLS in whatever area that you want to host that open house in, just text all of the listing agents at that time. And it's super simple. Hey, Eric, it's Steven, DRE number this. I'd like to hold your property open this Saturday from 1 to 4. Is that possible? Right?
Sure.
And you blast it out to, my personal preference, and Vinny, I'd love to get your opinion on this because I know that you did this for quite some time. I always like to say that I do it in 3 agents per chunk, because if I blast it out to, let's say there's 10 listings in the area and I blast it out to all 10 at one time, if 4 of them say, yeah, sure, Steven, that'd be great. I'd be like, oh, and now I look like I'm flaky. Do you think they're ever going to want to have me do an open house again? Yeah, no. Vinny, any words of wisdom in regards to hitting up outside agents for an open house?
Yeah, when I used to do that hard, I would just start texting the agent 3 at a time, and then as they got back to me, I would put in my phone, yes, open house, no open house for the agent. So then next time when I'm looking for open houses, I could see if I already texted this person in the past to see if they allow open house or not open houses, just to save myself time on it. Yeah. But try to go, ideally with the smaller mom and pop brokerages before the big ones usually.
Yeah.
Save you
I
time.
like that. Yeah, no, that's a good nugget. That's a good nugget. So again, when you're going through, search for these on like Monday and Tuesday, right? Monday and Tuesday, reaching out.
I would probably I'd probably say Tuesday, Wednesday, because
Okay.
if you're hitting on Monday, they might already have multiple offers.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so then Tuesday, Wednesday, starting to text those listing agents and being like, hey, can you, is it possible? Hey, it's Steven, DRE number this. I'd like to hold your property open this Saturday from 1 to 4. Is that possible? So
wait, don't to save you more time too. You can do in your phone. I'm assuming a lot of you guys already do it, but you can put an auto read or whatever it is in your phone. And so as soon as you put like 3 letters in there, it'll put all your name, BRE, and everything like that already, like autofill it.
Oh,
I do that for like all my texts, and it just for BRE, it automatically goes to my full name, brokerage, and BRE number.
Nice, dude. Okay, and that's in. How do you set that up again?
It's here. Well, you'll talk. Let me figure out how I do it.
All right, cool. So then basically what we're looking at is like Tuesday, Wednesdays when you're going to want to call to set up those open houses, right? To see who would commit to it. Always clarify. Always clarify instead of saying, great, by when would you be able to put this into the MLS, right? Because you want to confirm that they're actually doing that. Vinny.
Okay, so if you have an iPhone, you go to general, then you go to keyboard, and then keyboard, go to text replacement. And then on text replacement, you just put in what the 3 letters that the letters you want, and put the what you want to come through there. If that makes sense. I don't know if I described it, but it's pretty simple to do once you get to text replacement.
When you get to text replacement and then it's just like empty, and you put on the search bar, what do you do there?
So text replacement, you basically put whatever the text replacing you're going to do. So I put BRE.
Okay.
And then it autofills for my name, brokerage, and brokerage number.
My phone text replacement. Oh, I see. You go plus. I see. Got it. Phrase. I see.
There you go. Text shortcut. Okay. So that's something that I like, that little pro tip to save you some time whenever you're doing that. Hey, this is Steven, BRE, autofill, right? So Tuesday, Wednesday, reach out to those listing agents, get that solidified. Now, Thursday is going to be your day. If you're going to be hitting them up on Tuesday, Wednesday, then I would push you to do open houses Friday and Saturday. Okay. If you're doing it on Fridays, I've always preferred the time 3 to 6. It's a twilight open house. Okay. Minimum 3 hours was always the happy place. I know some people would only do it for 2. That's okay. I don't know if that really affects anything, but personally speaking, I would always want to do a minimum of 3, ideally 4. So Fridays, if you do from 3 to 6, ideal. Saturdays, if you ever want to do a twofer, you can do like a 9 to noon. It varies in regards to the responses and how many people would come through. Or most traditionally, I've either done noon to 3 or 1 to 4. And those seem to be getting really good results, right? As far as the flow of traffic. So Thursday is going to be your setup day. Okay. Let's say that you have an open house scheduled for Friday and Saturday, or Friday or Saturday. On Thursday, what are some things that you'll want to make sure that you do to prepare for that open house? Let's throw out some ideas.
Steven, this goes along with one of my ideas. You'd be cold calling people and inviting them, right?
Yep.
I just wanted to throw this out. This week, I'm inviting people to a big block open house. I don't know the agent. I have no clue who they are. I know the house, but does anybody know why I'm inviting people to a big block open house?
You tell me.
You're moving to big block. Congratulations, Eric.
No. I'm joking. Because I'm just trying to invite neighbors and talk to them before the other agent does.
Oh, well, I guarantee that these other agents, whenever they're doing open houses, like I guarantee they're not cold calling. Whenever they get properties sold, I guarantee they're not cold calling. Been doing this for a few years, and there's always been the concerns. Oh, well, it's not my open house. Well, what if I do this? Well, I didn't sell that property. Should I call around just sold? And I'm saying you have a 95% chance that that agent is not calling around to let them know about the just listed, just sold. I promise you that, let alone to promote an open house. it ain't happening. So it doesn't matter whether it be big block, Sotheby's, or, you know, ABC Realty. It really doesn't matter, you know, as long as you're calling around saying, hey, I'm hosting an open house in your neighborhood, wanted to call around to invite all the neighbors, see if you might be interested, right?
But I'm not even going to be there. I'm not hosting it. I'm just saying there is an open house.
Okay, so then that's an option too, right? To where they're going to pick up the buyers that come through and you're simply inviting people to that open house. And then here's what you're able to do. Can you communicate with that agent to see how many people came through?
I don't know. I'm not even going to talk to the agent. I'm literally cold calling these people to get, if I get some interest, like they will go to the open house, then I start the conversation.
Okay.
And if they go to that other agent and he gets their business, then whatever, right? I'm just trying to get it first.
Okay, so let me modify that, Eric, is that what I would encourage is that, sure, there's no problem in inviting the neighbors, but just also make sure that if you're not planning on being at that open house and you're just calling around to invite the people, turn your marketing into prospecting.
That's what it is, yeah.
Well, yeah, but what's the main difference between marketing and prospecting?
Marketing, you're just putting your name out there. Prospecting, you're actually trying to get their information and interest and motivation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, what I would say is that I've never heard of another agent taking that approach, but it's actually, the way that I see it is that it could work for you to where you're like, hey, there's an open house in your area, right? Just letting all the neighbors know. Any interest in swinging by? No. Any friends or family members that you may know that might be interested in moving into the area? No. Well, you know, we're going to expect a lot of traffic here. If someone were to see your property and fall in love, how much would they need to offer for you to consider selling?
Boom.
Right?
There it is.
Hey, Eric, a question. And Steven, I mean, do you think, I mean, if in that community you saw that there's 6 open houses happening, right? And saying, hey, there's going to be 6, I mean, something where it makes it even sound bigger or bolder or something like that, because you're not really talking about that direct open house. Do you think that would, or no? I'm just saying, because I mean, I'm calling about open house in your area. We're going to do this. But if you're saying, oh, hey, there's going to be 7 open houses in your areas with multitude of properties, multiple of interest, you know, something where it makes it bigger and bolder, where they're like, oh, shit, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're providing interest, and I mean, you're providing value, and you're also showing that your eyes are on the market. And you can also talk to them once you talk about 7 open houses, you can transfer that into not listed properties. So out of those 7 open houses, which one do you like the most? Oh, you don't like any of them? But what if I showed you something that you didn't even know about, that nobody knows about?
There you go.
Competition.
Yep. So you bring up a good point. Okay. So this is what I'd like for y'all to really consider. Every open house should have 3 parts: pre-open house, during open house, and post-open house. Keep it simple. Pre-open house, if you're hosting it, it's just that simple. Hey, Nikki, this is Steven. Wanted to invite you and the neighbors over to an open house I'm hosting this Saturday from 1 to 4. By chance, are you going to be in the area and able to swing by? No. Okay. Hey, no, fair enough. Well, do you have any friends or family members that might be interested in checking it out? Maybe interested in moving into the area? No. Okay, cool. I just wanted to reach out to you to let you know. Okay. So number 1 is just the invite, getting your name out there, showing you're not a threat. During the open house, we've already discussed that, and I want to role play it at least one time today, the open house flow. So make sure to get out your open house charts and open house sheets. Hint, Andrea, I'm going to call on you to actually do the role play with me, okay? I'm already giving you the heads up. Usually I put you all on the spot, but I'm just going to say, Andrea, I'm going to call on you, okay? So get your list. You got it, darling. Perfect. All right. And then just for extra zest, then next up, I'm going to call on Kevin. So you two are going to be role playing today. Yay. So then at that open house, we're going to get that role play from both Andrea as well as Kevin. But then post open house, what do you do?
Follow up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You follow up. How do you do that?
Thank them for showing up.
Okay. Do you thank them for showing up? What are some different ways to thank the people? Yep. So you call them. What else could you do?
Text.
One of my favorites is a text message with a video on it.
Yeah.
You know, with bomb video, something like that.
Yep. 100%. Oh, we got the puppy time here. I love this. Andrea and Rob loving on the puppers. So it's like, yeah, basically what you're doing is you're calling the exact same list. You've already pulled it, right? The other thing that you're doing is that post open house, you're calling all those people, you're texting them, thanking them for attending the open house. What else do you do in post open house? Who else would you contact?
Oh, follow up with the listing agent and tell them how it went.
Yep. What else do you do?
Follow
You
up.
contact your farm.
Contact your farm. What do you say to them, Andrew?
Hey, we just had this awesome open house and just wanted to follow up with you, about the neighborhood, see if it looks like a place you might be interested in.
Okay. So you're calling it around your farm, but here's another thing. Here's a hint. What do you say to the people that you contacted initially to invite them to the open house?
Oh, I was just following up with you regarding your feedback. Would that offend you to get your feedback?
Okay. So we technically want to get the feedback during the open house. I love your thinking, Andrea. I love your thinking. But if we're calling pre-open house, we're calling all the neighbors. All right.
Mhm.
So if y'all were all the people that lived in that area, 10 to the left, 10 to the right, 20 across the street, right? Or just in that little block area. Don't go too crazy, but just in a little radius there. Calling around, inviting people to the open house, seeing if they have any friends or family members interested. Okay. So pre-open house, I want y'all to document this.
Okay.
Right? Pre-open house. Invite neighbors / friends, family interested. Those are the main things. Keep it simple. Hey, Eric, this is Stephen Keller Williams. Hey, man, just reaching out to all the neighbors in the area. I'm hosting an open house just down the street and wanting to see if you were in the area this weekend to swing on by this Saturday from 1 to 4. Love to get to know the neighbors. Depending on the response, then say, okay, cool, excellent. Well, hey, and I'm just curious, do you have any friends or family members that might be interested in moving into the area? Or who do you know that might be interested in moving into the area that could pop in? Okay, that's your main thing that you're doing pre-open house. During the open house, again, we're going to do some role play here. But post-open house, you call through that list again. Eric, hey man, it's Stephen Jack, again with Keller Williams. I hosted the open house not just this past weekend. Yeah, we just wanted to let you know that, we had 30 people come through that open house and, a lot of them fell in love with the area, but not that property. They wanted me to reach out to you to ask. What's the question?
How much had to offer to
What's my magic number?
There you go.
selling?
Alicia just posted it in the chat.
Yep. How much would they need to offer for you to consider selling? Right? I love that. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. That's exactly what you put. Right? We had 17 people come through that showed interest. What's your magic number to sell? Right? Hey, look, we had 17 people come through that open house, loved the area, but they wanted me to reach out to you to see how much would they need to offer for you to consider selling? I'm not selling. I know you're not selling, but how much would someone need to offer for you to at least consider? Okay, got it. Fair enough. Well, I'm just curious with the way that the market's going right now, would there be any interest in seeing how much your home is worth now compared to when you first purchased it? This is so important. Because basically what you're doing is you're offering a complimentary CMA to all these people. I'm going to give a shout out to Kevin King because he actually followed, shocker, right? Followed what we propose here in Scripts. And Kevin, are you able to chat? Can you share a little bit about like these people that you just offered these CMAs and you offer these presentations to? How many people are interested? Can you share a little bit about your success with that?
Yeah, so I originally done like what you had said a couple of weeks ago with some of my close friends, and just they know that I'm just getting started, so I was just hit them up with the, hey, so I know you just refied your house or whatever, but I need to get some practice. Can I practice doing can I get a CMA for you? And of course I had to explain what that was, but it was like, because housing prices have went up just in the last year more than they did in the previous 3 years. Would you like to know what you gained? Of course, all of them jumped on it.
Yeah.
So I've got 4 friends that are letting me do that, which it equals out to be 5 properties because 2 of the people or 1 of the person, 2 of the properties are their rental properties. Mm-hmm. And then just for shits and giggles, the other day I went and stopped by my old employer and talked to some of the people and was talking to the general manager, and he had just bought a house not long ago, and probably a year and a half ago, in Fallbrook. So it's like, so how are you liking Fallbrook? He's like, oh, it's okay. And then he was talking about all the houses around him for sale. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, so would you be curious to find out how much equity you've gained, like since you bought it? And he jumped on it too. So I'm actually working on that for him today. so,
Good.
so I mean, it was just, I mean, I think I asked him like 4 questions, but I have to look to see what I asked him. But
Yeah.
because I made notes right afterwards, so I don't. Okay, well that worked on him because he wasn't really one of those that I would have just asked for practice with. So,
Sure.
but the 3 other people or 4 other people rather that I asked for practice, they just kind of pretty much it. And it was 4 simple questions.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, and that's the reality. You don't have to make it complicated because essentially what you're doing is you're trading value for time.
Yeah.
Right.
I said, how are you liking Fallbrook since you all moved? Is there something? Is there somewhere else you'd pick differently if not there? And he said Oceanside. Would you like to know how much equity you've gained since you first bought your house in Fallbrook? And he's like, yeah. I was like, okay, well, what's your email? And I'll follow up after the email and explain everything to you. So
There you go.
that was
There
it.
you go.
So seeds planted. I don't know that he's ready to sell, but he's already made note that he's ready to look for something in Oceanside if he could. So
Yeah. Well, it's like, but because and that's literally what we're doing is that we're planting the seeds here. So the reason why that you're basically letting people know, okay, there's a psychology behind this to invite the neighbors. One, you're increasing your exposure, not only by saying, hey, my name is Stephen Jack with Keller Williams, right? Hosting an open house, inviting the neighbors. Who do you know that might be interested in moving to the area? Or would you like to swing on by, right? It's an intention, it's a value add. Hey, would you like to swing on by? We'd like to invite you. Makes them feel special, okay? Whether or not they respond or whether or not they're excited to join is irrelevant. It's your name out there, especially if you're focusing this in on your farm. That's massive, okay? Massive. At that actual open house, conducting yourself as a professional, following the script that we're going to hear in just a moment, that's where you're able to get people to engage, picking up the buyers. But now you're able to flip this around to where your post activity is you're having the same similar conversation with those same people that you called to invite. But all you're doing is flipping that around and saying, look, we got this many people. It's showing that people are interested in your area. So if you're saying, what would they need to offer for you to consider selling? Just because they can't come up with a number right there and then is irrelevant, right? We caught them off guard. But if you're able to say, because look at it from this perspective, if a person can't fathom how much they would want to consider selling their house for, well, wouldn't that naturally be an inclination to know what their home is worth? I'm not saying this is going to be a home run every single time, but just think of it from a psychological perspective, right? Nikki, how much would a person need to offer for you to consider selling? I don't know. I've never thought about it. Okay, yeah, but is there a magic number out there that would at least have you considering? I have no effing clue, right? Okay, hey, fair enough. Well, any curiosity to know what your home is worth now versus when you first purchased it? There's going to be at least a curiosity, because if you can't fathom how much you would consider selling for, the next logical step is to find out how much could your home sell for. If you don't know what that number is, sure. So it's so important that you focus in on this, because the open house is a way to get your name out there and yes, pick up buyers, but it's what you do before and after that's going to actually get you those listings. Okay.
Hey,
Andrea, in regards to the CMA, sorry, was someone going to say something? I didn't want to overtalk.
Well, you can answer her question first. Mine's a follow-up to hers.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah. So basically Andrea's question was, how do you offer to do the CMA via phone or Zoom? Ideally face-to-face. Secondary would be Zoom. Third would be, obviously a phone call. But basically what you want to do, Andrea, is that whenever you're offering that CMA, especially to like your friends, family members in the sphere, is that before you send it over, All right. You're just saying, hey, when can we go over this information? And you can do a screen share and saying, hey, here's what goes into the CMA. Here are the additional properties that kind of help me out with this. How would you rate your property compared to these photos? How would you rate your property compared to these? Okay, got it. Well, so based on this range, based on what the homes are selling for, this bedroom, bath count, square footage, condition, everything like that, here's roughly what we're looking at. Would you say that your property's in better or worse condition than these sum together, or an average, right? So that's where you're able to kind of identify and saying, well, based on this information, I believe that your home could be worth this amount. Tell me. And you always end offering the CMA by asking the question and saying, so Andrea, you know, does this give you a considerable amount of equity compared to when you first purchased it? If you were to sell.
I'm actually in shock. I had no idea my house was valued at this much.
Yeah, no, that's what people are mostly surprised about. So I have to ask you, I mean, what opportunities would that present for you and your family if you wanted to cash in on that equity?
Well, I mean, you know, we've been wanting to go to Paris. You know, we need to get new passports, but, you know, this would open things up so that we could travel again.
Ooh, okay, nice. Tell me more about that, right? And then you have a conversation, right? Just tell me more about that. Ooh, tell me about that. Why, you know, oh, that's awesome, right? You're getting people to think. So again, this goes into the core principle of you never offer something without asking for what are they going to do with this information? Okay. Never deliver information unless you're going to ask a person, what are you going to do with this information? Okay. Now that you have this information, Nikki, right? I'm just curious, what opportunity, if you were to cash in on that equity, what opportunity would that present for you and your family? All right. So Dave, go for here. And then Kevin, I see that you raised your hand.
That was helpful. My thing is like I want to run some CMA ads and stuff like that, but like my thing is it takes me a long time to do a CMA, and I don't know how, you know, I mean, like then I send him to Vinny and he does what I consider the real one, and you know, last couple of times we practiced, you know, they were kind of in the same ballpark, which makes me feel good.
Good.
And then like he was, you know, but like mine's a more like a question of competence. It's like, I don't know. I'm just kind of like taking my very best guess given the information from these other houses. But I can't, like, the thing is, I can't, and then like Vinny was saying, well, you know, as a way to get in the door if we're doing it by Zoom, like say, well, I couldn't tell. You know, I need to see the place to see the condition, all that. And that makes a whole lot of sense, except that like, I've taken the CMA classes, but they just haven't gone into like the detail. They've just kind of more like gone over like Nikki said, you know, CMA class. It's like I've done those, but they're more like how to do a general kind of a thing, but not specific. So, okay, you're in the house and the condition is XYZ. Like, how do you know?
Yeah, and Nikki, thank you,
Nikki.
Yeah, thank you for offering that, Nikki, because I mean, Nikki really is very solid on those. And Dave, just to put your mind at ease, let's be honest, it's basically an educated guess, right? It really is an educated guess, is that if I'm looking at these properties, they're listed, the thing that I pay attention to most is going to be what's the list price and what's the sales price. Honestly, that's for me on a CMA, that's what I look most closely at, because I want to know whatever price I put the home at is not the price that it's going to sell it at. I want it to increase the marketing to the best of its ability, right? So if I'm looking at a 3-bedroom, 2-bath property that's listed for 600 but is selling at 670, that gives me a range to be able to say, you know what? If I'm seeing that things are selling between the 650 to 700 range, I'm probably going to put something at maybe 649.9 to create that type of bidding war. For me, there's other people that will price a property based on the CMA. I always take the CMA to say, if this is what the range of properties are going for, I'm going to market it just below that price point. Why? Why is it that I like to take that approach?
Well, it's marketing so that you can increase. It's a marketing style so that you can get people to bid you up.
Well, you use the competition against the competition, right? You use the competition in the favor of the client, because if properties are selling at 670, 680, well, guess what? I'm then also going to look, what's my competition? I'm going to look to see what's on the market. If they're in the market between 660, 670, all right, I'm going to put it below those, knowing it'll sell for higher. But guess what? Now I'm drawing all the time and attention away from those other people to my property specifically, right? So I don't want to go too far down the tangent as far as the CMA, because now, Nikki, thank you. I think that I'll talk with Evie to see when and how quickly we can do one. It may just be an impromptu. I may take like maybe a 15-minute session before scripts, or maybe like a scripts after hours. And I'll just extend and I'll say, hey, here's the way that I do CMAs. It's not to override how the coach does it. There's a million different ways to do it. I favor mine, coaches favor theirs. None are right or wrong, right? So I may probably end up doing that early next week to complement maybe what Nikki is also able to do. So, yeah. Kevin.
So not to get too far off the tracks here, but so I done one for, he's kind of like my little brother, but so as soon as I hit him with the number that I came up with the range, which I guess I'm one of the black sheep. I'm a member of PSAR, not SDAR. So they've got CMA Cloud I was using. So what with based off square footage, area, what's been in there, I got between on the low side 465, and then on the high side 505. But somebody, Rob mentioned Zillow, so he said, "Oh well, kidding. WTF?" I know, but he was like, "F." Zillow shows like I think it was 560 something, which I hit him with the don't trust Zillow for one, and two, I was like, well, with this market, it's kind of like eBay or an auction. You're not going to list it at your top dollar unless you just want a top dollar buyer. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know much about the Zillow side of stuff, but I would just think they're wanting you to call. They're not. I told him basically to call Zillow then and see if they'll buy his house for what they're offering him on Zestimate.
Mm. Yeah, Zillow, I say it tongue in cheek that the A in Zillow stands for accuracy. The reason why that's tongue in cheek is that I'm not putting down their algorithms, but let's just be honest, it's pulling from, and here's the reason why. If someone were to say, why aren't Zillow estimates accurate? I'll tell you the reason why, okay? Let's name, let's just say Gaslamp. Okay, just because I live there. Do you think that Zillow is going to create a CMA or even some cloud CMA softwares? Do you think that it's going to identify the difference between Gaslamp, East Village, and Marina Village and Marina District?
Nope.
Do you think there's a drastic price difference between East Village and Marina?
Nope.
So the algorithms that it's going to pull up, and this is the reason why it's dangerous, is because there's so many different neighborhoods now with the team in Redondo Beach. My gosh, it's so incredibly drastic because there's no way in heck that I could use a Zillow estimate, because if I were to try to price out a tall and skinny house, if anybody's been up there, right, there's the tall and skinny houses that are going to sell for 1.2, but literally across the block, across the street is an $8 million listing, right? Zillow can't tell, a computer can't tell the difference, but it's within a certain range or it's within this certain neighborhood. But how the heck can you be able to pull it up? Because the bedroom bath count may be the same, but there might be something different as far as how can it tell which one has an ocean view, which doesn't, which one has the upgrades, which doesn't. So that's the reason why if someone were to say, why can't I trust a Zillow estimate? And saying it's not Zillow that we're hating on Zillow, it's only because we're hating on the technology that goes into it. Use that as an example that's relatable. Is there a price difference between East Village and Marina District? So people looking for a Zestimate and Gaslamp are screwed because there's no way to be able to pull information to, okay, yes, we're secretly hating on Zillow, right? Not necessarily. It's just that the algorithms that they use in order to create those CMAs, they're just not accurate because they can't be. This is the reason why when people are like, oh my God, technology is going to take us over. No, it's not. The agents that adopt the technology will still persevere. The agents that don't, well, technology is going to kind of replace you. So we just have to adopt the technology. That's it, right? There's no reason to be fearful. We use this information to our benefit. So here's something that I'm going to do a little screen share, because this is also something I want to get back to the open houses, and bear with me here. This is what I mean Can everybody see my screen here that has a map of Chula Vista?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So basically, this is what I'm going to encourage you all to do. Okay. Log into My Plus Leads. Now, remember, if we're solidifying the open houses on like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is going to be your homework day in which you're calling the neighbors. The way that you do that is you pull up the neighborhood data. Okay. You search, and that's where you're able to either pull in for a specific area. If I wanted to pull up Gaslamp Quarter specifically, cool. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a polygon, okay? And I'm going to do it just for this area, okay? I don't really care what is over here. Remove numbers on the do not call list. This is important, okay? Generate the list. That's how I generate the list of the people that I want to be able to contact, okay? So this is going to be my go-to list of all the people that I want to contact to say, hey, Tim, this is Stephen Keller Williams. Like, I'm hosting an open house just off of K Street. Wanted to see if you'd be interested in stopping by. No? Okay. Hey, well, any friends or family members that might be interested in moving into the area? Great. Thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it. Hey, Tim, it's Stephen Jack again. I want to let you know that I had 13 people come through my open house on K Street, and they love Gaslamp, and I see you're over there on G Street. What would someone need to offer on your condo for you to consider selling? Does that make sense? So then the next step, that's how you pull up this list and save that list. Download it right here. All fields, export. I didn't select anything. Steven. Select it. Select all. Export. Okay, that's my call list. If you want to be able to do now the off markets, okay, this is something, proceed without saving. So this is something that during my open house, what I want to be able to do is show people the off markets in the area. Okay. So the way that I do that is, let's just say that I want to pull all the properties. I don't know. I used to be able to go further back. I don't know why it's limiting me. So I may need to look into that. But let's say that I'm doing an open house in Chula Vista. Okay. You can either do it zip code specific. Okay. Or I like to pick the different area, or maybe even Cardiff. All right. And I want to look at all the FSBOs expireds, or I want to see all the ones in Chula Vista. Go through here. I don't care about this. Submit. Because now what I'm wanting to do is I've got this map. If you want to hide these, that's what you're able to do. Addresses, because I don't want to actually show those addresses. All right. But if I'm going to tell people, hey, here's a map of all of the coming soons, or here's a map of all the off-market properties. All right. And it's nothing more difficult than what I'm doing right here. Where's this? And now I have a map of, here are the off-market, here's a map of the off-markets. I'm going to put this little snapshot onto a flyer, and I'm going to put that in the acrylic stand. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
This is what you want to be able to use to generate that interest in telling people, hey, we've got some coming soons. Or, hey, we have some off-market properties. And if any of these people are like, oh, well, what is that? What is that? Maybe even next to it, here's a map of it. But if I want to be able to have more specific information, this is where I'm going to put, okay, a 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath, priced under 500K, off of Huntington Point Road. Okay. There is also, and this is the things that I have written out on the chalkboard or on a separate sheet of paper. If you don't have great handwriting, you have two pieces. One, a map of the off markets. Another one is basically saying off market opportunities. You're just putting, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, priced under 510, off of Painted Desert Drive, condo, gorgeous, gorgeous home with a loft. When you're having these different little nuggets at your open house, it gets people to talk, because now you are able to have visuals that captures more types of personalities that are people that are interested in going to those open houses. Does that make sense? Cool. Any questions about utilizing My Plus Leads to, one, pull up contact information for the neighbors to invite them, keep that list to let them know the results, and two, to be able to look at the expireds and the FSBOs for the off markets. Are we clear on that? Awesome. All right. So let's do a little bit of role play here. Okay. Andrew, let's
Oh.
start with you.
Sorry, my husband's leaving. I do love you, Stephen, but not the same way I love my husband.
You know what? I appreciate that. Your family comes first, okay? I guess I'll put my ego at bay. I guess I'll just have to accept that you love your husband more than me, that you have X period of time. That's fine then. That's fine. All right. So let's go through, okay? So Andrea, talk me through what we've just been talking about. So let's say that you solidify an open house by Wednesday. Great job. On Thursday, what are some of the things that you're going to do to set up for your open house?
To prepare for an open house, I need to pull up a list of the houses in the adjacent neighborhood. Just you were saying like a narrow sphere around the house, not too far out. And call and invite people to come and just say, hey, you know, if you have any friends or family that love this neighborhood that would like to move here, you know, please come. It's from 1 to 3. Love to meet you. And bring your friends.
Yeah.
Okay. Go through the list and call people. And when you have the open house, get there maybe like a half hour, an hour early. Open up all the windows. Bring a scented candle. Get the house looking good. Put your little table, set up everything. Have your map of the off-market places with a little bit of information without their addresses, and the clear acrylic on your little table. Have your little sign-in sheet, business cards, things like that. And then your for sale or your open house signs, those will be just 3 or 4 with your picture on it, and then the rest will be directional signs further out. You do that maybe 15, 20 minutes before the open house starts.
Okay.
So that's on the day of.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So now walk me through the process in which you're conducting that open house. Okay. So let's role play this. I'm walking on up and I see your smiling face. Go.
Hi, welcome. How are you doing?
Doing pretty well. Thank you so much for asking.
What brings you to the open house today?
Oh, just drove by and saw the open house signs and, love this area. So I figured might as well, stop and check it out.
Awesome. Well, it's so great to meet you. My name's Andrea. Would you like a guided tour or would you prefer to look around on your own?
No. I think I'll just take a look around for myself.
Okay, awesome. So when you're done, please, stop by. I want to find out your feedback.
Okay. Yeah, not a problem. And I'm back.
Okay. So what did you think of the house?
It's really nice. It's the layout is really good. I love the natural light. It's just that the bathrooms are a little bit outdated, more outdated than I was expecting.
True. But I mean, it is something that you could customize to whatever you like.
Oh,
if
absolutely.
You decide to purchase the house.
Sure.
But what are you looking for exactly?
Careful. Careful.
Okay. So how are you currently finding properties?
There you go. So pause real quick. Why did I give the little tilt ahead careful to Andrea for asking me what am I looking for? Why did I pause?
Well, the goal is to get their information and follow up, and you might scare them off.
It's potentially, right? And there's nothing wrong with getting to know more about what a person's looking for, but here's the reason why. It just gets concerning because if we're starting to ask that kind of conversation, we're not following the script to a T, guess what? People are coming in and out that door and they're more engaged in that conversation, especially when someone's telling you what they're looking for and you're distracted, that's a rapport breaker. So you want to keep it engaging, leaning in towards the value without them pouring their heart out to you, right? So great job on saying, okay, great.
Save it for later when you meet with them.
Nailed it. Okay,
Yeah,
so
she was totally natural, though, her voice. This is probably the best I've heard you, Andrea.
Oh,
this is
the growth. Thank you.
This is the growth. No, seriously, this is the growth that we're experiencing. This is the growth. So, all right, so pressing on. So I said, oh, the bathrooms are a little bit, outdated. Yeah, I could customize it. Your next question is?
Well, so how are you currently finding properties in your search?
Yeah, mostly online and just kind of driving by different areas.
Okay. Well, so you're seeing the same properties that everyone else is seeing as well.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Would you be interested in knowing about off-market properties?
But yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. I mean, this would give you a competitive edge too.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I know about properties weeks, if not months, before they hit the market. Would that be of interest to you?
100%.
Okay, great. Well, what's the best way to get that information to you?
Email would be good.
Okay, all right. Let me get that information, and I'll also need your phone number as well.
Perfect. And it's blah, 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 blah.
Okay, and like we're only going to search for properties that match your criteria specifically, right?
Well, yeah, that'd be ideal.
Okay, and so what area are you looking for specifically?
I would like to keep it in the Del Mar, Cardiff area.
Okay, Del Mar or Cardiff?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fine. And did you want something west of the 5 or east?
I'd like to compare the difference between this and that.
Okay, and what's your price range?
Anywhere around 1.5 to 1.8.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that's great. So, when's a good time to discuss your options once we, find the properties for you?
There we go. Right. So then you just go in to set that appointment. Okay. Again, if they want to postpone, great job, Andrea. Seriously, that's
I was nervous.
no. And it's very natural. The one thing is that this was my error on the script. I don't know when I wrote that, but apparently I didn't review it before publishing it. Ironically, because the little watermark, I had 3 different teams out in like Minnesota and then another one in, I think, Indiana that was like, hey, Steven, I came across your script online. I was like, funny, someone sharing my information, but hey, yay, there you go, referral partners. But that being said, it's like if you have on that script, it's like, hey, would off markets be helpful? I know about properties weeks, if not months. That second one is redundant. So I meant to say pick one or the other. You don't have to do twice. So in case anybody caught that, that was my error, not Andrea's. Right? She was following the script.
Did I say it twice?
I wrote it twice.
No, it's fine.
Yeah,
but I do see that there's kind of a room for follow-up when you ask them that question.
Yeah.
So pause.
There you go. Yeah. So just massage that. So great job, Andrea. Very, very natural. And I love the way that you're able to segue into, okay, so what are you looking for? Well, when's a good time for us to really hone in on this search so we can actually take a look at some of those properties, right? Great job. Great job. Kevin, you ready to do some role play?
Oh, Kevin.
All right, I couldn't get it unmuted.
Okay, perfect. All right, cool. So same situation. I am walking up to your open house and go.
Welcome. How are you today? Kevin King with Keller Williams.
Very nice to meet you, Kevin. My name's Steven.
Nice to meet you, Stephen. What brings you in today?
Oh, just scoping out the area. I was driving by and was surprised to see an open house sign, so I decided to just pop on by.
Oh, great. Well, would you like a guided tour or you just want to look around for yourself?
Oh, no, I'll just take a look around for myself.
Okay, just promise me that you'll come back by and give me some feedback. Or would
Oh,
like
absolutely.
some feedback.
Yeah,
Appreciate
not a
that.
problem.
Thank you.
Cool. And I'm back.
So what'd you think?
It was nice. I actually really liked the views from the master bedroom, and the patio was much bigger than I expected.
Great. How are you currently looking for your properties?
I mean, mostly I'm just kind of poking around online, and mostly like these drive-bys now that open houses are happening again. So,
Got it. You're not working with another agent right now then currently?
Careful.
Well, that's a great start.
There you go. Yep. Why am I cautioning this? All right, because I want to be intentional. I do not want to hinder y'all's creativity, but there's a very specific reason why I'm saying careful. Why do you think that may be?
Don't want to give them any ideas.
Yep.
And they can lie too.
Assume the sale.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Because the chances are, if you're saying, hey, are you working with another agent? That basically says, hey, do you want me to sell you on something?
Got it.
Right. So that's the reason why that if you're saying, how are you finding properties right now? That typically is in and indirect way to say, is an agent sending you properties?
Got it.
Right. So yeah, so good job. So yeah, I mean, I'm mostly finding them just by like driving by, right now, and then online mostly.
Well, that's a great start. Would it be helpful if you had some off-market properties to look at that's not being advertised?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Sorry, I got lost.
You're good.
So what price ranges and areas are you currently looking at?
Before you do that, just get my contact information.
Okay, so you would want to get the contact information before getting that? Okay.
Yeah. So because you're basically just saying, because listen to the flow, right?
Right.
You're like, hey, would off markets be helpful? Absolutely. They just agreed, they're in agreeable state, so you want to get their information immediately.
Got it. So then
Right.
what would be the best way to get that info over to you?
There you go. Email would be great.
Okay. Can you just confirm your email for me?
Yep.
Or what's
Blah,
the best
blah, blah.
email to get you at?
There you go. Blah, 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 blah.
Okay. And so I can be dialed in to get you the correct information with what you're looking for. What areas and price range would you be looking at?
This and that, this and that.
Got it. So I can definitely send those out to you, and then hopefully we can get together and see what your options are.
I wouldn't even say hopefully. You're a Southern boy, right? You can hope in one hand and crap in the other. Which is going to fill up first? Be intentional. So you're saying, hey, when would be a good time for us to review the information that I'm going to send to you?
Is that a Southern saying?
I don't know. In Texas, it is.
It is, yeah.
You can hope in one hand and crap in the other. Which is going to fill up first?
Y'all.
We're so eloquent. But it's like, but even still, right? When we're talking about when you're leaning in, always assume that close and always lean in with that value. Again, people are going to give you the same objections. Oh, Kevin, well, just send me what you have, initially. I can certainly do that without a shadow of a doubt, right? But I'm just wondering, like, when would be a good time for us to follow up? How else can I keep you in the loop, right? Wouldn't it be helpful for us to dial in more specific information for you? Okay, great. It's just a 15-minute conversation. I'm not ready yet. It's just like planning a vacation, right? You got to know and do your research on the excursions, on what you're going to wear, the weather, before you actually book that trip, right? Yeah. This is just like that. We're just canvassing the area. No harm in that, is there? Look, I know you're still 6 months out, but shoot, Kevin, what if I were to find some sellers that are 6 months out as well? Would that help you get a competitive edge? Let's just talk a little bit more about your options. Couldn't hurt, could it? Don't be afraid to lean in. Don't be afraid to set that appointment. Okay, this is crucial. This is crucial because if you're following that format, right? If you're following that format of the open house model and with that structure, not only calling the neighbors to invite, marketing, conducting the open house, lead generation, following up with those neighbors to let them know, marketing/prospecting, to let them know what the type of results were. This is where you can build a very sustainable model using open houses and still working the buyer-seller platform to where you can eventually, then if you start marketing the listings, doing or a coming soon campaign, just listed, just sold campaign, you start getting listings from that listing. So again, if you plan on doing open houses for the rest of your career, that's great. Some people like to do that. But I would just encourage to say, consider your business model to pick up 3 to 4 leads per week for an open house. If you do 3 to 4 leads, we're going to wrap up with a quick little math thing. And then I'd actually like to introduce Mike Drew, because right after this, Mike is going to be presenting his 7% listing proposition and his listing value. So I want to be able to give him a little bit of time while I pop off and let Mike Drew run the show. So, but before we do that, shoot, I lost my train of thought because got all excited about Mike Drew. What was I saying that we were going to cover, Andrea?
3 to 4 leads.
Yes. Here we go. If you get, let's just keep it simple. If you get 3 leads per week by doing 1 open house, okay, how many leads is that per month?
12.
16.
16. And out of those 16, roughly how many of those 16 people can I expect reasonably to be considered an A client, someone who needs to transact within 30 days?
4.
A quarter of your total leads, would typically be considered an A client. A quarter of that quarter will actually transact every 30 days. So based on that algorithm, how many transactions can you expect from just doing one open house or generating 3 leads? You got it, Eric. 1 transaction a month. You want to be a capper. You want to be able to earn 100K in GCI, average price point of 650. And you want to net that amount, do 1 open house, 3 leads per week. This is the easy solution. If you want to turn that open house opportunity into more listings, it's mostly going to be your follow-up to those neighbors, asking the magic question, how much would these people need to offer for you to consider selling? And then you keep on that model to where then you run a different segment, which we're going to cover in scripts to come, which is how you can get more listings from the listings that you actually have. Okay. So was this helpful to be able to take this week to really dig in deep on the open house model, how to generate business from the open houses? Are we all clear on this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love
Hey,
it. Love it.
With is this? I need to go to get my COVID shot, my second one. Woohoo! So I'm going to miss this next presentation. Is it going to be recorded? Because I really do want to see it.
Yeah, with Mike Drew's permission.
Okay.
Oh yeah, not a problem.
Okay, cool. So then on the interwebs, we're going to have this information. So yeah, it's going to still be continued on with the YouTube. So what I'm going to do here, Mike, is that I got to pop out, ironically, Dave, to go get my Moderna shot. So yeah, my second one. Woo, woo, woo. So I'm going to pass this over to you, Mike. I'm going to make you the co-host, and I'm going to log off here. So if you don't mind, again, I would say stay on board. You're going to still get some people showing up in the waiting room, Mike. So just keep an eye out on that. But otherwise, okay. I give the floor over to you in regards to, hey, how can you add value by commanding a 7% listing agreement? Take it away, Mike.
Yes. Hey, thanks for having me, Stephen. Everyone, I'd like to also introduce Beef Wellington from the Career Compass.